Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is VassaOlga. Today we're going to be witnessing the battle of two palettes. It's going to be Simple Beauty, one of my favorite palettes, Beth Painter's palette, and the second one is from Morphe James Charles eyeshadow palette. I'm going to show you real quick what I'm talking about. Both palettes have been reviewed on my channel. This palette was reviewed a long time ago, probably like 4 years ago. I don't really like the review, but it was just like one of my first videos. And as for Simple Beauty, I've been having this palette for like 2.5 years, I'd say, maybe 2 years. Very pretty, a lot of matte shades, a few shimmers. If you're interested, then please stay tuned. We're gonna get started. Let's do this now. The huge problem about Morphe palettes is that when you try to get them on, you can end up with a lot of creasing, a lot of lines. I won't say that it has a lot of fallouts, but the problem is these colors, they're not staying on the lid. Though, I actually solved this problem when I switched to NYX products, NYX primers, and it held my eyeshadows in place for a long period of time. If we're talking about something different as like Essence primer is not bad. It's kind of the primer that I would recommend to purchase, but it's kind of the substitution of this product. I'm not going to tell you that it's going to hold till the end of the day, but it's definitely going to hold your shadows a little bit longer than some Makeup Revolution primer. I had one Makeup Revolution primer and I'm not buying Makeup Revolution eyeshadow primers anytime soon. I'm gonna prime my lid with NYX primer. I feel so like a grown-up in gold. Every single time I wear gold, it's like the feeling that I'm kind of bougie a little bit. And I bought this crop top, new one, about like 4 days ago, and after some wash, I decided that I'm gonna put this on for you guys, like for this video, and it really looks good with gold. This one is not gold, actually. This one I bought on Shade, but the watch and the earrings, they're kind of gold, but it doesn't really matter. Do you know the tea that Morphe, they're kind of like bankrupt, and they're probably just gonna close the manufacturers, and they're probably not gonna be producing any more makeup. That's why I don't know how it's gonna be going later on. Like, Morphe brand is owning a lot of money too, if I'm not mistaken. James Charles, Jaclyn Hill, Jeffree Star, like about more than $1 million to each person. That is crazy. But I have a video. Like, today is so crazy because we're kind of summing everything up. I have a video on my channel, a Girls Night Talk, where I talked about flop companies, and Former Beauty has a lot of small subsidiary companies like Morphe, Morphe 2, Jaclyn Hill Cosmetics. So like Jaclyn Hill Cosmetics is not her own brand, but that's a subsidiary company of Former Beauty. So I was talking about this kind of stuff in my video. You can check this out if you're interested. Without any delay, let's get started, and I'm gonna do my both eyes with different palettes. As for like this side, I'm using Simple Beauty. For that side, I'm using James Charles palette. I'm getting started with my Morphe eyeshadow palette in this baby pink transition color that is going all over the lid. Then to this sexy, vibrant, dark brown shade that I'm stamping really close to the lash line. And to diffuse the shade, I'm using Marvelous pink, bright pink shade. And of course, I need a little bit more of the same baby pink color to diffuse and blend everything out. I did not forget about shimmers and my brow bone. That's the perfect match. And then I moved to this beautiful blue color, but it was a little bit better in the pan. When I tried to transfer this, it just didn't really want to come off the brush. And I would say I had a lot of visible lines underneath, like my skin was coming through. I tried to blend this out, but it didn't really want to blend. So not a favorite thing. And of course, for my lower lid, I used the same brown color, a little bit of the copper kind of orange shimmers in the inner corner with a wet brush. And the reason is because all of the shimmers are going to be more pigmented with a wet brush. Then I'm going to this vibrant orange shade to diffuse my lower lid. Perfect. Moving to the next lid. I had to combine 3 different shades to create something remotely close to the baby pink color from Morphe palette. And then, of course, I didn't have the same bold brown shade for stamping. That's why I had to mix 2 completely different colors. I wanted to diffuse them with a little bit kind of like brighter shade, but it turned out to be off. That's why I added a little bit of pink. It was completely off. I needed something velvet, and I thought that the color that is looking like wine is going to solve the problem, but it didn't. That's why I had to keep on stamping and blending with velvet colors to create something similar to the left eye, but literally nothing seemed to work.
That was the main reason why I had to go back and forth between velvet shades, and something came into my mind that what if I combine gray, black, and a little bit of the wine shade, and boom! It turned out to be perfect. Almost the same duplicate of the brown color. A little bit more velvet shade, and in the inner corner I used navy shade. It's a little bit deeper and brighter than Morphe color, but the stamping was a little bit easier. Blending was pretty much similar. It took up a lot of color, but it was bearable. This same trio was used for the lower lid, and of course hot orange shade was responsible for diffusing and blending my lower lid. In the inner corner, I used beautiful coppery shade with wet brush, and it turned out to be very pretty. Please check out the difference. Which is your favorite side? Let me know in the comments. And of course, I didn't forget about an eyeliner and mascara, so it's just kind of basic.
There's a huge difference. I mean, I can definitely see that. Let's get started with the first point that I want to mention. Morphe palettes, they're a little bit more blendable, a little bit more subtle than Simple Beauty palettes. Simple Beauty are blendable as well, but I mean, it's kind of a little bit like you get a little bit more colored. That's the main reason why it's a little bit harder to blend sometimes, because you're kind of like getting this everywhere else. It's up to you guys which colors are your favorite. Let's move to a little bit different thing, pigmentation. As for pigmentation, I guess Simple Beauty is a little bit more pigmented. That's gonna be compared even with like blue in the inner corner. I want to mention one more thing, that I couldn't create the same like similar color as I had like in my Morphe palette, and that's gonna be very, very important to show that. It was my fault, I guess. I went to this beautiful kind of like dark brown shade at first, and I should have kind of substituted with this shade, because this one is very similar to something that I have in my Simple Beauty. This color is very similar to that color. I mean, I should have used this one, but then I had to show you how to combine colors, let's say, to create something a little bit similar. Let me tell you something else about shimmers. I really love shimmers in my Simple Beauty palette. I mean, the silver, you can die for the color. Very pretty, very beautiful. And I have only 3 shimmers in my Simple Beauty. That's like silver, gold, and this kind of, let me tell you, Natalie color. All of them are very beautiful. Look at the payoff. By the way, I used wet brushes for my shimmers. That's how it looks with wet brushes, and you don't really get, it's beautiful for Morphe side. That's another level for Simple Beauty. I love Simple Beauty shimmers. They're so pretty. I mean, like with or without wet brushes. I want to mention that with wet brush, it's going to be very pigmented. The payoff is going to be like over the top. If you don't really, if you use just a like dry brush, it's going to be subtle but very beautiful. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Like, for example, this silver shade, it's a silver lining. That's how it looks with my finger, like a wet brush. Let me show it with some dry brush. Kind of subtle way. This one is like silver, and this one is just like some shimmers. About fallouts, I get a lot of fallouts for both palettes. In the pan, I can show you that there's like few fallouts over my face, and you saw that I didn't use any tissue to protect my foundation, so both eyes are very kind of decent. I really love it, so it's kind of decent, no problem. The pigmentation is very good for both eyeshadow palettes except for blue color. This shade is a little bit like patchy from Morphe. It's a little bit patchy. That's a little bit, you can see my lid through these eyeshadows, so they're not holding that as good as my Simple Beauty, so you can't see anything. And that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the small review, the small palette battle, and I guess I'm gonna see you really soon in my next video. Love you guys so much. Bye bye.